Anybody else pay for expedited shipping for Mikayla's POV skin prep line, and then now you're being told you're not gonna get it till the end of the month, and like, doesn't really matter that you paid extra for expedited shipping?
It's not me. The entire podcast interview of me promoting this product was digitally manipulated by this company's Skinned official using AI. The left is my actual likeness from my podcast that they obviously used as their template for their ad.
When you see the prices of your favorite brands and your favorite products go up, don't be surprised. Small businesses especially can't afford these tariffs. This is insane.
Hello, my friend. Welcome back to What's Up in Makeup, where we talk about everything that happened across the beauty space all in one place. This is 2 weeks worth of news. I was off last week, but I'm back, so I have a lot to share with you. But before I do, we need to take just a moment to thank this week's sponsor. This video is very kindly sponsored by Typology. Typology is a vegan and cruelty-free skincare brand manufactured and formulated in France. As an ingredient nerd, one of my favorite things about Typology is that they keep their ingredient lists simple. They keep them to the best ingredients that will actually do things for the skin and leave out all that unnecessary stuff. They are PETA and B Corp certified, and all of their packaging is either recycled or recyclable. Sometimes when I get ready for the day, I don't want to put on a full face. I just want that little extra zhuzh, like that little extra something to make me look like I'm glowing, to make my skin look beautiful. And one thing I never go without is moisturizer. I'm actually on my second tube of the Typology 9 ingredient moisturizer. It is a beautiful unscented moisturizer. It feels so good going on. It's not greasy or heavy, and it just makes my skin look and feel amazing. But today, just to add a little more glow, I'm going to use their glow drops on the high points of my cheeks. The glow drops are vitamin C enhanced, and they give you just that little something extra on the skin. Since I'm not wearing eye makeup today, I'm going to give my short, wimpy lashes a boost with their eyebrow and eyelash serum. It contains pea peptides and castor oil to help brows and lashes strengthen and grow. And I love the applicator on this. So many lash serums have that little dippy thing, and I don't like that. This is so much more functional. Finally, I'm finishing this up with my new favorite Typology product, the lip oil in sheer honey. It contains vitamin E and squalane and jojoba oil for that deep, rich moisturizing, but it also gives this amazing shine, and it doesn't feel sticky at all. If you are interested in trying Typology products, there is a link below, and if you spend $40 or more, you'll get a free one of these. This is the hydrating cleansing milk. But the one thing I want you to keep in mind about it is it only lasts for 1 week after this video goes live. So if you would like this free cleansing milk, definitely take advantage of that link ASAP. Thank you so much to Typology for sponsoring this video, and thank you all so much for the feedback on these sponsorships. Every time I work with Typology, I get so many comments of people just really excited about the brand and really happy with the things they've purchased. I'm just really thankful to be able to partner with brands that not only I love, but I know you love them too. And with that being said, my friend, it is now time for What's Up in Makeup. When I first talked about POV Beauty, the big question was, at least in my mind, is this going to be Jaclyn Cosmetics Part 2? So far, it's kind of following a similar pattern. It took 2 years to develop. It launched and it sold out super quickly. Thankfully, no reports of contamination yet for the POV Beauty brand, but there are some issues from jump. The issues surround significant shipping delays and some very pissed off customers. Now, I do want to give a quick shout out to Rich Lux, who provided me with some of the screenshots that I'm going to share with you. I will link his coverage of this topic down below. But here is the down and dirty of what's going on. The line launched on March 26th, and knowing that the line was gonna sell out, customers do what they always do when you're trying to get something and you know there's limited quantities. You jump on the website as fast as you can and you check out as quickly as possible, because just because something's in your cart doesn't mean it's yours. You have to go through the process very quickly, including the full checkout process. There was an option for people who wanted it for a 2-day expedited shipping, but the first people that jumped on the website saw when they were checking out 3 to 7 days shipping if you didn't pay for expedited. That would mean that the last day of that 7-day shipping window would be April 2nd. But some customers were very disappointed when they got an email that explained at the very bottom that their order would ship no later than April 21st, which is a total of 19 days after what they were told at checkout. A TikToker named Jillian actually paid for that expedited shipping, but then she got the same email. She wanted the expedited shipping because she wanted to review it. She reviews skincare on her TikTok, so it was important to her to get it quickly. She paid that extra, but her products never shipped. Here's her story.
Did anybody else pay for expedited shipping for Mikayla's POV skin prep line, and then now you're being told you're not going to get it till the end of the month, and like it doesn't really matter that you paid extra for expedited shipping? I placed my order 6 minutes after it opened. I was checked out by like 12:10, something like that. Like I think I got my confirmation email at 12:10. You have the option that you can do 2-day shipping for extra money. So I did that. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll get lucky, and like this is how my account will finally get some followers, like in the niche that I'm interested in, right? Like skincare, that kind of stuff. Because my growth has been slow lately. So it still was saying order processing on Friday. Didn't say anything about being shipped or prepared or like, label created, nothing like that. So I go on the point of view website, I find the email address. It's like frontdesk@pov.com, whatever. I email them. No response. Monday night, still nothing. So I find a different one, helpdesk@pov, whatever. So I email them. They emailed me back yesterday or something. They emailed me back and they're like, oh, well, it's 3 to 5 business days shipping after a 2 to 3 day max processing time. I'm like, okay, that wasn't said in, the checkout process, but if that's the case, the last day to process would have been on Monday. So it still should have shipped out already, because this is Tuesday. And then I hear something this morning and it says, I just want to confirm that you want to cancel your order. And they're like, due to high demand or whatever, these are on back order, and so they're not going to ship out for like several more weeks or something like that towards the end of the month. And I'm like, but why did I get screwed? Like, I had to have been at least one of the, first couple thousand, 100,000, I don't know. But like, why would you have the ability to order more than what they have to offer? That's so frustrating. And like, I'm seeing videos that people are receiving theirs. So like, why did I get screwed? So I'm like, I email them back. I'm like, no, I don't want to cancel my order. I would like my shipping refunded though, like the extra shipping that I paid.
So here's the text message. You can see that I checked out at 12:13. Here's my order, March 26. Here are the items that I purchased. I got everything except for the Drench It because that was sold out. And looky here, everybody that came at me for no reason saying that I was wrong. Expedited shipping, 2-day expedited shipping. And then here's a series of emails where they're like, yes, it will ship out in 3 days. No, you're on back order. Do you want us to cancel your order? I said no. Do you want us to cancel your order? I said no. I hate that I'm still so naive about TikTok that I'm like, forget that people are so mean.
Based on the emails that Jillian shows, it does look like they refunded her expedited shipping, which is great, but that still doesn't solve Jillian's problem in that she wanted to be one of the first people to review it, and now that's not going to happen, and that's disappointing. And Jillian wasn't the only reviewer disappointed in this. Here's another one.
So I kind of wanted to talk about Point of View, Mikayla's new skincare brand that everybody's patiently waiting for me to review. But it's taking forever for them to ship that sucker out, like forever. To say my patience is really very thin at the moment. It's almost non-existent. They did send me an email, however, saying that it was going to be shipped out probably on the week of the 21st. You may not even see it until like probably next month due to the fact that it's shipping out so late. I feel like everybody else is already getting their shipment in, and I'm just sitting here going like, where's my shit at? But I will keep you guys posted, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.
Of course, hindsight is 20/20, right? But in my opinion, what I think would have been a better plan for POV if they knew they had a limited stock, or they knew that they wouldn't be able to keep up with the shipping due to their fulfillment center, or whatever the issue is behind the scenes, just say everything's shipping on April 21st. Just put that out there. Call it a pre-order and say it's all shipping on April 21st, and then just ship some things out early. I don't think people would be upset if they got things a little early, but what that would have allowed them to do would be to prioritize people like Jillian, who paid for that expedited shipping. I'm going to be real here for a second. Is this the most scandalous thing or the worst thing that could happen at a beauty brand launch? Absolutely not. It's really not. What would be scandalous is if people don't get their orders, but it looks like people are going to get their orders. They did send out an email to customers recently saying, quote, "The good news is we're on track to ship your order by next week. We're also upgrading your shipping on us." Now, it doesn't say what upgraded shipping means, like, because you would think upgraded shipping might be expedited, or it doesn't say they're refunding shipping. I don't know at this point what an upgraded shipping experience looks like and how it's going to make a difference for customers. Clearly, it isn't going to be any faster, so I don't know what that means, but I digress. Let me keep reading the message. It says, "As a new brand, we're learning a lot with this very first drop, and your experience is our top priority. Improving is always our goal, and we're committed to leveling up our communication and shipping times moving forward." And I think the communication piece is huge. It does look like they communicated a bit on the POV Instagram through their Instagram stories, the ones that disappear, but it didn't look like Mikayla addressed it at all through her platform, which is where I'm sure the vast majority of people are definitely following, is on her TikTok. So I think it would have been great for her to just jump on real quick and say, "Hey, I know there was an issue with the shipping times. I'm super sorry about that." Maybe give a quick little explanation. Didn't even have to be super detailed. Quick little explanation about what happened and say, "But don't worry, everything is coming by April 21st. Feel free to reach out to customer service if you have any other questions or issues. Here's the email address." Done. Like, I feel like that just would have been nice, 100% necessary, not really, but I think it would have been nice, and it would have been an act of good faith. On a semi-unrelated side note, I happened to be on Mikayla's TikTok, which I don't follow super closely, and I saw this post. Check this out. So apparently, Jaclyn Hill sent Mikayla over one of the original Jaclyn Cosmetics lipstick PR boxes from 2019? The PR box, the actual Jaclyn Cosmetics, sent it over to Mikayla.
You know what this is? This is literally currency. I cannot believe I have my hands on one of the original Jaclyn Cosmetics lipstick PR boxes. What the f***? This is a beauty archive. This should be in a museum. Thank you to Jaclyn for sending me this. Okay, this is like monumental. I am obviously, when these launched, I was so excited because Jaclyn loves a pale nude like me. So there's quite a few pale nude lipsticks in this collection, and those are the ones that I want to try. I know that there are many people who still have their Jaclyn Hill lipsticks today. We have Nude AF, As If. I think this one is going to be the one. And then Isla, am I saying that right? Little foundation on my lips, little Glossier lip liner. Let's try Nude AF. Obviously, these are old, so I don't know, the formula could be different. Oh my god. They're so pigmented. Yep. I love it.
So what this means is that Jaclyn Hill sent Mikayla expired lipsticks that could potentially be contaminated, and then she put them on her lips. That's what happened. I imagine Jaclyn probably went through and looked at each one to make sure none of them looked bad. And of course, not all of the lipsticks that were sent out showed sign of contamination, so it's possible she just made sure that Mikayla's looked good on the outside, but this doesn't mean there's not something embedded in there that Jaclyn couldn't see. You know what I'm saying? Like, and also they're expired due to the ingredients used, the cream ingredients. The average shelf life for a lipstick is 2 years. These lipsticks are 6 years old. It's like, blah. But I mean, it's Mikayla's lips. She can do whatever she wants with them. I'm not the boss of her. I'm not her mom, but I think that's nasty. What's really interesting about this clip is what Mikayla says near the end of the video.
I have seen a couple people say, like, would you ever do like an influencer collab with Point of View? Yeah, that would be freaking sick. Imagine me collabing with like one of my favorite influencers.
So my question to you is do you think that Mikayla and Jaclyn are working together on a collaboration for POV Beauty? Maybe for like a lip oil or a lip gloss or maybe even a moisturizing lipstick? That's what I think is going to happen. I think that would be extremely smart on both of their parts. If somehow Jaclyn Hill released all of those shades with POV Beauty, it would be brilliant. They would make so much money. Oh my gosh. So that's what I think is going to happen, but I would imagine this wouldn't happen for at least a year, maybe even 2. From the discussions we've had here in the collective brain of makeup awesomeness about AI technology, it seems like we have a very wide range of opinions on how dangerous AI is and how much we should be using it. Some people are very excited about the advancements, and some people are terrified of it, that are very scared of what this could mean for our society as a whole. And if you are part of that latter group, this story is probably going to reinforce that fear. We know that deepfakes are one of the scariest things that AI can do, when a company can take the likeness or voice of a person and basically make them do anything they want.
This is not Tom Cruise. The person in this video is actually Miles Fisher, who used deepfake AI technology.
And as this technology is honed, we may not be able to believe what we hear or see anymore. And in the beauty space, bad actors are starting to use this technology in order to sell their products. For example, this week we have a story from skinfluencer Arielle Lorre. She was a victim of this exact situation. I'm just gonna let Arielle tell her story.
So I had something very scary and concerning happen to me. I'm going through it now, and it's a video that everybody should watch because this is going to be a huge problem in the future, and it could happen to anybody, and it's going to get so much worse. So last week, people started sending me this podcast interview of me sitting down talking about skincare and my skin concerns and raving about this one specific product that I was using. A lot of the messages that I was getting were also disparaging, asking what the F I had done to my face. The comments on the video were also predictably not friendly, while other people just wanted to bring this to my attention because it's not me. The entire podcast interview of me promoting this product was digitally manipulated by this company, Skinned Official, using AI. The left is my actual likeness from my podcast that they obviously used as their template for their ad. I'll show you a little bit of it.
Stunning.
Thank you.
But come on, tell us, what's your secret?
Okay, but don't go telling everyone, all right? This is my best kept secret.
Deal, I promise.
Honestly, you see, it's not even that complicated. When I was younger, I had a ton of skin issues. I started noticing fine lines in my early 20s and thought, no way.
So to reiterate, they created an AI version of me that looks like me and for the most part talks like me, sitting down for an interview, talking about their product in a paid ad on Instagram. So I sent them a message before I had my attorney send a cease and desist, and they responded. They wanted to apologize. It was never their intention to use my image or voice without authorization. They also said that they were not aware that it was a recognized person or with image rights, which does not hold up because in this over 2-minute long video, they used a ton of B-roll video from my skincare videos, my various TikTok and Instagram videos. They had a video of my boyfriend and I in there, so they very much knew that I am a real person. Not to mention that they grabbed my person from my own podcast and used that template to create the AI version of me. Responding to comments comments on their ad telling people that this was not real, it's deceptive marketing, it's not me. And after we sent the cease and desist, they blocked me. I also reported them to Meta, who said that it does not go against their community standards, which is interesting because it's literally illegal to steal somebody's persona for commercial use. I'm sure that you can imagine how unsettling it is to see yourself saying things that you've never said, sitting in an interview that you've never sat in. Not only is it illegal, but it also dilutes my brand, affects the trust that I've been building with my audience and my community for years on end. And I can only imagine the deeply unsettling and disturbing ways that AI might be used in this way in our future. So I would love to hear, what are your thoughts?
Now, if you look very closely at the clips Arielle shows, you can see that the mouth movement is a big tell. The way the mouth moves is not natural. There's also a bit of a lag, and some of her movements look slightly robotic. But if we are being real, somebody just scrolling and not really paying attention might not notice this. And there are a lot of people that are not familiar with this technology and may have no idea that this could even possibly be a thing, and they could absolutely fall for it. The most horrifying thing for me in all of this is that Instagram said that this did not violate their community guidelines. Absolutely terrible. So what I did was I looked into it. I mean, obviously they're saying it didn't violate it, but I looked into it to see how could this possibly be true, and it is true. So Meta prioritizes protecting their users from hate speech, harassment, and misinformation, but that word misinformation does not currently extend to AI-generated images. There are legislators here in the US that have proposed laws like the No Fakes Act, but Congress hasn't passed any of those laws to my knowledge. I don't know all of the laws. If I'm wrong about that, let me know. I'll link it down below. But to my knowledge, they haven't passed anything at the federal level. Fortunately, there are states that are moving a little bit faster, and one of those states is California, where Arielle lives. They do have some protections in place that celebrities have used. People like Bette Midler, Scarlett Johansson, and Vanna White have filed lawsuits in order to protect them from this exact same thing. All of this to say, keep an eye out for AI. Watch for those strange mouth movements, the slightly robotic movement, the strange intonations in speech, and most importantly, listen to your gut. If your gut tells you that this is something that's fake, it probably is. If you've been watching my videos for any length of time, you've probably heard me call clean beauty bullshit, because it is bullshit. I'm not saying you can't like clean beauty or buy clean beauty or that all of it is trash. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the term itself is bullshit, because it is just an unregulated marketing term. What companies do is they use this word clean beauty in order to demonize competitors to make their company look better, to make them stand out in the market as being the better, healthier, higher quality alternative, when really and truly clean beauty could mean anything. And the fact is, due to the preservative systems that a lot of these clean beauty brands use, it's just not as strong or as efficacious as preservatives like phenoxyethanol and, oh my gosh, parabens. Don't get me started on parabens. Look into the science on parabens and how it's all been debunked that they're dangerous. That's a thing. But anyway, all of that to say that the clean beauty movement was really, really big in 2020. And I feel like it's starting to wane a little bit, possibly due to some of these clean beauty companies coming up with mold and bacteria in their products because of their weaker preservative systems, making them essentially less safe than their not clean alternatives. The latest evidence that the clean beauty movement may be slowing just a little bit is what's going on with Juice Beauty. In the height of the clean beauty boom, Juice Beauty hit $100 million in retail sales, and now they have entered a process called the assignment for the benefit of creditors. Basically, they're liquidating their assets because they owe so much money to so many people and entities. entities. It does look like this is going to be a really long process. The court documents filed say that they ask for proof of claims before September 8th of 2025. So they've got a long time to file that. One source close to Juice Beauty told WWD that heightened competition and pandemic-induced headwinds are to blame for Juice Beauty's decline. The source also cited an influx of clean beauty brands in 2020 as customers looked for safer alternatives to mainstream cosmetics, and that Juice had trouble standing out in the now oversaturated clean beauty market. The source also said that the founder, Karen Banky, when she left in 2023, she took some of Juice Beauty's patents with her. And additionally, the source felt like their recent 2024 rebrand was a complete waste of money and that they should have been investing in retail sales avenues instead. I even talked about the rebrand here on What's Up in Makeup, and we talked about how it didn't look that much different to what they were already doing. But on top of that, they came out with this terrible post where they demonized their competitors by showing the backs of the products and basically said, these are all crap, use ours instead. It was so bad. This is the post that sent me over the edge. The post says, Beyond Clean, ditch the junk, followed by the backs of competitor products. And because I have Google Lens, I think I was able to identify what all these products are. So Juice Beauty is calling these products junk and saying that you should replace these products with their products. I mean, of course, they're flipped around. And of course, if you don't use Google Lens, you're not going to know the brands. But I think that it's in poor taste. So here we go. Left to right, this is what I believe they are. First, the Kosas Dream Beam Silicone-Free Mineral Sunscreen SPF 40. Next, the La Roche-Posay Mineral Ultralight Sunscreen Fluid. The next one I'm not 100% sure because it looks like it might be a discontinued cleanser from Sephora, which is weird. I do know, I can't say I know, but this one looks exactly like the Supergoop sunscreen. You probably called that one if you're familiar with that product. And then the last one appears to be old packaging of the Skin Fix Barrier Foaming Oil Cleanser. And then it continues, and I hate this with my entire soul. This is just my mom in my basement opinion. I am not an industry professional. I just have been researching this stuff for like 10 years. So it's all informal, on my own training. I am not a professional, so take what I'm telling you with a grain of salt. The list that they have on here as their no list is complete and total bullshit. Complete and total bullshit. It starts off with fragrance and the artificial fragrances having phthalates in them. I would say to them, prove it. I would say prove it, because the whole point of putting fragrance on every single bottle, every single cosmetic that says fragrance on it, is that it's a proprietary blend. So how are you going to tell me it has phthalates in it for 100% sure? You can't. So that makes me irritated. I'm heated on this one. I'm heated. I just don't like customers being tricked into buying crap. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so then it continues with polymers, okay? Polymers are not a concern from what I've researched for skin. The next one, dimethicone and silicones. Nothing wrong with that. Benzoyl peroxide, mineral oil on the skin. Those are fine. They're literally fine. I would say to Juice Beauty, show me the science. Don't just put this stuff up there with no's on there, demonizing these products. Show me the science. That's what I would like to see. But the thing is, they can't show the science because they're fear-mongering propagandists. And then the post continues with pictures of their overpriced products, saying you should buy them instead because of course you should. Mott's for tots, come on. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. That is what is happening here. I literally do not care if your products are made from juice. When I covered it here, Karen Banky herself actually came over to the comment section of the video to distance herself from the choices that Juice Beauty was making. Here is her post. I did verify that it is most likely her. So as of now, the Mott's for Tots of beauty brands is not doing well. I don't know if they are going to close completely. We're just going to have to wait and see how this assignment for the benefit of creditors, how that goes, and whether somebody will buy it, because reports are saying that they are looking for a buyer for Juice Beauty. It could be a complete rebrand. They could continue as Juice. We just don't know, but you know I'll be following it and I'll let you know what happens. As I approach the next two topics, I want to remind you that there are timestamps down below for you to skip ahead if you don't want to hear about anything political. The problem with completely staying out of politics on What's Up in Makeup is that things are starting to become increasingly political in the beauty space. It is affecting everything, and it's going to affect you as a customer. So I feel like it's very important for me to talk about it. Now, again, if you've been around here for any length of time, you know I have very strong political beliefs. What I feel like my job here is to tell you what's happening, give you all of the information. I could interject my opinions here and there, but overall, I'm just trying to give you information. You do with it what you will. I'm not trying to change your mind on anything. I'm just telling you what's going on, okay? But if you don't want to hear about boycotts and you don't want to hear about tariffs, please feel free to skip those stories. The first story has to do with Target and the boycotts that have been going on since the end of January, when Target announced that they were rolling back their diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. After Donald Trump was elected, many companies came out saying that they were rolling back their diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives. But what is interesting is that every company had put those initiatives in different ways. Some of them had to do with promoting more women. Some of them had to do with including people with disabilities. Some of them had to do with making sure that people of all ages were given a fair shot. And of course, people from all different cultural backgrounds. Target's efforts, however, had really focused on the cultural aspects of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, for example, they had pledged before to increase Black employee representation by 20% and committed to improving equitable access to career advancement opportunities. Equitable access, not hiring people that were not skilled, but making sure that everybody was given a fair shot. Target also emphasized supplier diversity, aiming to expand business partnerships with companies owned by people from historically excluded communities, aka companies not owned by white people. So when people heard that they weren't going to continue these initiatives and others anymore, they were upset and decided they were no longer going to shop at Target anymore. As a Target lover, as someone who spent a lot of money at Target, I joined that group of people. Now, where this moves into the beauty space has to do with Ulta Beauty. You may know that Ulta Beauty started putting these pop-up stores in Target quite a while ago. There are a lot of them, about 600 of them, that are living inside Target stores, these Ulta Beauty stores. Ulta as a brand has taken the opposite direction of Target, and they have doubled down on their diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. Recently, Ulta CEO Keisha Steelman said that they are going to pause the expansion of Ultas within Target stores for the remainder of 2025. At a conference, Keisha said that they're going to keep all the Ultas that are currently in Target, but they're not sure if they're going to continue to expand even into 2026. She also mentioned that she's not sure if they are going to make improvements to those current Ulta stores. This cancels the plans to open 200 more Ulta stores within Targets in 2025. Now, this is really important. Keisha didn't directly say that this was related to diversity, equity, inclusion conflicts. And she also didn't say that it was related to the decreased foot traffic at Target stores because of the boycott. Instead, she made a vague statement that said, "We've taken a little bit of a pause in opening more stores, but that is really to just make sure that we're working on all the things that we've learned over the last 3 years collectively together." All the things, really, that's where we're at. All the things. That's it's business, it's politics. I don't know what I expected.
All right, we need to talk about tariffs. I've held off on tariffs for a while because with this administration, you never know from day to day what's going to change, what's going to be implemented, what they just said they were going to do and then don't end up doing. So I was just like, you know what, let me just hold off until there's an actual impact. Unfortunately, now there is an impact specifically in the beauty space, and I want to talk about it. So the way my process goes when I research for What's Up in Makeup is I just open up tabs. I open up tabs. When I find a story, I open it up and I leave it there, and then I categorize it so that I can work on, one story at a time, right? When I was researching for the tariffs, I had 17 tabs open. I've never had 17 tabs open. There was so much information on this topic. So what I did was I tried to synthesize it down to what you needed to know as a customer
in the beauty space. But there's a lot you need to know, so this is gonna take like the next 10 to 15 minutes in my estimation to go over this. And where we're going to start is with small independent beauty brands. Fantasy Cosmetica came out with a post, and I would imagine we're gonna see more posts like this in the coming weeks as these small brands go to order more product or to talk about new projects with their suppliers. What it comes down to is that Fantasy Cosmetica is concerned that in the near future, they're going to need to shut down because of these tariffs. Their post explains that they haven't been able to find a manufacturer in the US that can work specifically with their small order sizes and also meet their standards of quality. They report that the 145% tariff is going to impact them significantly. Trump's latest round of proposed tariffs includes a 100% plus duty on certain goods from China, and this does include components and materials used in cosmetic manufacturing. It's part of an ongoing trade strategy that is being implemented during his second term. Back to Fantasy Cosmetica, they mentioned that as of now, they don't have to raise prices. And that's because their latest launch arrived right before the tariffs went into place. As of now, they still have plans to finish making the next 3 palettes that are currently in production. But if the tariffs are raised again before that production can be completed, they're going to lose a lot of money. Reportedly from them, they say about $45,000. And if they lose that money on these 3 palettes, they don't see how they could stay in business. Fantasy ends their post by saying that they haven't increased prices since they launched in 2021, and they really don't want to increase prices, but they may have no other choice if they want to survive. To step on my soapbox just a little bit, I just want to explain to you why this is happening, because I've seen a lot of people respond to situations like this just being like, well, if it's not from the USA, I don't want it anyway. And I think what's missing in that argument is a lack of understanding of what we actually have here. Yes, we are a very big country, but we don't do all of the things that other countries do. That's why we have international trade. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that everything that Fantasy Cosmetica wants can be found in the US. They currently get a lot of stuff from China. It's important to understand that most brands do not own their formulas. The factory and the manufacturing facility own those formulas. So in order to transfer those formulas over to a US manufacturing facility, they would have to purchase them. This can cost hundreds to thousands of dollars per formula. And with eyeshadow palettes, we've got 9 different formulas in here. The base formula may be very similar in, let's say, all of the mattes or all of the shimmers, but the amount of color in them, maybe even the raw materials themselves that are used to make this eyeshadow palette, are probably all Chinese made. So how are we going to get this exact same product in the United States without importing anything when none of this is probably made in the USA? Can you make something like this in the United States? Probably, but even if they bought their formulas, it would probably not be exactly the same, because guaranteed something in here is just not made here. And if we want it to be made here in the US, it's probably going to take a while to get that technology in order to make that thing. Now, let's stay in the world where every single beauty brand wants to move all of their operations into the US. What would happen? Well, based on the data of Nielsen IQ, they estimate just 7% of beauty products sold in the United States are made in the country. That doesn't count the ingredient manufacturing, that when you import the ingredients and you make the product here, that doesn't count that. It's just manufacturing here. 7%. So if you imagine the other 93% then moving to the United States, you know how big this beauty industry is. You know how huge, how many companies there are, how many products there are. 93% more coming into the United States. How will our current companies handle that? They can't. It's not possible. So you would have to build more facilities, you would have to train more people, you would have to have more professionals. It's massive how much we would have to build up just this one industry, because we're not just talking about the formula inside. So for example, I just got this in PR, this new Jones Road tinted moisturizer. They have to make the outer box. So somebody's probably making the box, maybe the same place is printing it, maybe it's a different place that's printing on the box. Then inside we have the tube and the cap. The tube and the cap could be from the same place, they could be from different places. When I opened this initially, there was a little foil on the top. That needs to be made somewhere. Besides that, we have an ingredient list here that has 19 ingredients. Now, this product says on it, made in the USA. Most likely they have a manufacturer who is acquiring the ingredients from all over the world and they're manufacturing it in the United States. But that doesn't mean that they're getting their packaging from the United States, that they're getting this box from the United States. So even though this is a made in the USA product, that doesn't mean that Jones Road won't be impacted. For a visual example of the financial impact that this could have on beauty brands as a whole, here is a screenshot from the LinkedIn of the sexual wellness brand called Unbound. And you can see, if you look closely with the numbers, that they are tweaking them a little bit, going down in certain places in order to try to cut costs as much as possible. But even with cutting operating costs in places like payroll and benefits and marketing costs, they're still going up in their overall costs by 31%. And for my last argument before I step off my soapbox, if you think that made in the USA means that it's going to be of higher quality, allow me to remind you that the contaminated Jaclyn cosmetics were made in the USA. So just because it's made in the USA doesn't mean there's going to be more oversight or that it's going to be of better quality. But we're not done talking about this yet because I haven't gotten to the 17 tabs. But I'm done with the soapbox part. Let's talk about the 17 tabs and what I learned and what you need to know as a consumer. So what is going to change for you? You may see more items being discontinued. You may see fewer product launches. You may see less frequent shade expansions or brands that are just launching less shades from the jump. You may see products being out of stock longer, and you may see unexpected shipping delays. Of course, because of what we just talked about, you might see some changes in the formula of your products, and they don't have to tell you that they're changing the formula. That's not a law. Like, you're gonna have to check before you buy things. If you're really like a specific formula of something, double check the ingredient list and make sure it matches before you purchase it, because that is going to be common. Because if the formula changes, that may mean the performance of the product may change. We also might see less innovative product launches because brands are afraid to take that risk. It is, I guess, a bit of good news if you shop at TJ Maxx and Marshalls, because we may see more products going into those stores because they're discontinuing more of their product lines. Typically, we see a lot of sales throughout the year, 20% off, 30% off, friends and family sales. Those are probably going to decrease in frequency, and we may only see a 10% discount instead of 25 or 30%. And of course, the biggest thing that we may see is significant price increases. One of the articles talked about how there are these 40 female brand founders, these small business owners that have joined together as a collective to ask for an exemption to the tariffs. According to the article, collectively, this group of brands have driven over $800 million in revenue. So they're using that as leverage to try to get an exemption. Lulu G, who is the founder of menstrual wellness brand Elix, told Beauty Independent, quote, "Tariffs are a death sentence for small businesses because we don't have the tools or the capital that a Walmart or a Target has. We don't have the lobbyists that they do to ask for exemptions. So unless they're trying to put the millions of small businesses in this country out of business, we need an exemption." Brands also have been speaking out as individuals, and one of the ones that has been very vocal is Swedish brand Foreo. They said that you can expect to pay 20 to 30% more for their devices starting on April 22nd. That yes, they're increasing 20 to 30% for the cost for consumers, but they said that in order to produce their products, their costs are going up. It ranges between 137% and 151% increase depending on the product, which is wild. David Chung is the founder of the skincare brand Pharmacy, not the MLM one, but the one that's sold at Sephora and Ulta, I believe. They also own a manufacturing company called iLabs. They handle a lot of production in South Korea for a bunch of different beauty brands. He said, quote, "The whole world right now is at 180 degrees. Everyone is literally going crazy. They are panicking." Melissa Butler, who is the founder of The Lip Bar, she posted an explainer video on her Instagram.
When you see the prices of your favorite brands and your favorite products go up, don't be surprised. Trump just announced his tariff plan. The Lip Bar manufactures like 85% of our products in Taiwan. All of our paper and plastic goods get made in China. We have a little bit being made in Italy, a tiny bit being made in the States. And this 32% increase in Taiwan, like we can't just eat that. That goes against our margin, and our margin is our profitability, and our profitability is how we pay people, how we give people bonuses, how we invest in marketing. Like small businesses especially can't afford these tariffs. This is insane. If y'all see our prices go up, this is why. Yeah, it's fucked up. I don't know what's next.
We also had Crave Beauty founder Leah Yu posting on Instagram that the brand would be raising prices, saying that the next shipment from South Korea would be facing 25% tariffs.
This hurts me so much. From now on, you'll probably see so many brands raising their prices left and right, and it's not something that's coming out of greed. It's actually inevitable at this point. I don't think Crave Beauty is going to be an exception in this case. This hurts me so much because our pride and our positioning was to offer premium, sustainable skincare that's under $28. And we've been operating for 7+ years. We never raised prices, even though there were inflation, labor cost increase, so many macro market contexts that were kind of playing against us. We never wanted to pass that burden to you. We wanted to hold that out for as long as possible. But this new trade policy that was announced today by President Trump is going to change literally everything and for everyone in America. South Korea has been blessed because we have a free trade agreement with the United States. So any beauty products coming from South Korea to the US would be exempt from tariffs, which is a huge thing. And I think that was one of the best attributes that a lot of Americans loved K-Beauty for its very affordable price point. But I'm not sure how long K-Beauty can be positioned to be that affordable price point anymore with this new tariff and trade policy, because that's going to go into effect pretty much immediately. Our next shipment coming from South Korea to the United States will be hit with 25% tariff, which basically means that it'll increase our cost of goods sold by 25%, and which then it will have to be passed on to the customers. We can discuss who this trade policy is for. Is this actually making Americans wealthy again? It's going to be pretty messy because a lot of the beauty companies and pretty much, any brands who create products, their supply chain is international and global. This impacts literally every brand. Just wanted to come in here to give you guys a heads up while the news is really, really fresh. We're still processing and we're still calculating what the implications of this new trade policy would be to our business, and this will change pretty much everything.
If you shop at Temu or Shein, I hope you didn't like those very, very inexpensive prices, because those are reportedly going up. And because there's no additional money flowing into these companies, it's just going to the United States government. Chances are working conditions at those places will not be affected in a positive way. Lush has announced that U.S. customers will have to swallow price hikes as a result of the proposed tariffs on imports from the UK and Canada. There are so many more, but you get the idea. Of course, none of us have ever seen anything like this before in our lifetimes, but we have seen a lot of drama in the beauty space between customers and brands. And if I had one piece of advice for brands during this time, it's communicate. Communicate. Use Fantasy Cosmetica as an example of how to handle the situation. Just tell people what's going on. It will be good for business. Customers just want to know what changes they are in for and why they're happening. Simple communication can reinforce brand loyalty and keep customers coming back for products even with a price hike. In my opinion, brands are much more likely to survive if they do that one simple thing. Whew, okay, that was the heaviest thing we're gonna talk about. Now let's talk about things that are a bit more fun, starting with celebrity beauty launches. Now, last year there were so many celebrity beauty launches that we actually had a running tally because it was just constant. This year it's been slower. One of the brands that we were keeping our eye on from February of 2024 was SZA's beauty line. She had talked about that it's coming, that she was working on it, but it never launched. 2024 came and went and it never came out. So I didn't know what was happening. Well, now we know what's happening because it's launching. It is called Not Beauty. Their first collection includes lip glosses in 3 shades called In the Flesh, Strawberry Jelly, and Quartz. They say the formula provides long-lasting wear, adding hydration and plumpness to the lips without stickiness. In a statement about the line, SZA said, "Not Beauty wasn't about me trying to enter the beauty market. It's about me filling a need. It's about me needing something that lasted as long as a show, as long as my conversation, as long as my date. There was nothing that existed that did that for me and also made me feel moisturized. I don't know much about lips, but I know a lot about lips. And I feel like Not Beauty is not beauty. It is just something that I wanted to share that worked for me, and I hope it works for you. It's well made."
The ad for this is really cute. Up on SZA's Instagram, she appears with a chainsaw, and the backing track of it is the Runaways Cherry Bomb. It really is super cute. It shows off the imitation wood packaging. It's just fun, just pure fun. SZA did say that the line will eventually include other lip products like lip stains, lip liners, and creams inspired by SZA's infamous layered lip combinations. But this is the thing, you can't buy it online yet, and you can't buy it in stores. The only place to get these are at her shows for her tour that she's currently doing with Kendrick Lamar. The good news is that you don't have to have tickets in order to get to the booth. Apparently, they're doing a pop-up shop where people without tickets can also buy them for $23 a piece. If you don't live anywhere near a place where SZA's performing, or you don't want to make that trek out there to buy them, don't worry, I'm sure they will be available online eventually and possibly in stores. I will let you know when I know. Now, I don't know why this is happening. I've been doing What's Up Makeup for like 10 years, and I've never seen this happening. And now it seems to be happening all the time, where a beauty brand founder is buying back their brand from investors. This week, Taraji P Henson has bought her hair care line. It is called TPH by Taraji from the incubator brand that helped her start it called Mesa. The terms of the deal were not disclosed, but the Mesa chief growth officer told WWD, "After launching and operating the brand for 5 successful years, we are thrilled to see Taraji take full ownership as it enters its next chapter of growth." So Taraji joins Kim Kardashian, who just bought the Skin by Kim line, bought from Cody, who were 20% investors in that line, and Huda Kattan, who just bought back the rest of the shares in Huda Beauty. I'm so curious why this is happening. Like, why is this a thing? I would love to be a fly on the wall in any of these companies to know what the motivation is for, because I find it absolutely fascinating. On the flip side, let's talk about celebrity brand sales. So last year, there was a bunch of commotion over Selena Gomez potentially selling Rare Beauty. And eventually, I think it was an interview, she squashed that rumor by saying she had so much more she wanted to do with Rare before she left. I don't know if she added that clarifier, but basically she wasn't planning on leaving Rare Beauty anytime soon. So we kind of speculated that maybe she would sell it and then stay on as an advisor, but she hasn't sold it. And honestly, I don't think she's gonna sell it. At least not yet. I don't think it's happening soon. But the woman who people have always pitted against Selena Gomez, Hailey Bieber, is reportedly looking at selling Rhode Beauty. Investment bankers at JP Morgan Chase and Moelis have been engaged to gauge buyer interest. Sources estimate that Rhode could be valued at $1 billion as the brand is set to generate nearly $200 million in annual sales this year. Of course, that doesn't mean that it will sell, but again, I'll keep my eye on it. I'll let you know. If you've been looking for a new fragrance that's just a whole mood and celebrates love and peace and unity, then there might be a new fragrance brand for you, especially if you're a fan of Bob Marley. There is a brand new Bob Marley fragrance brand started by Bob's daughter. Her name is Cedelia Marley. She's in charge of all of the Bob Marley group companies. And in that new fragrance line, there are 6 scents. 3 of them are labeled as masculine, 3 of them are labeled as feminine. They are named after his most sensual songs: Satisfy My Soul, Lights Down Low, Place of Peace, Mellow Mood, Soul Rebel, and Simmer Down. And as is the trend right now, they are said to be mood boosting and mood enhancing to arouse feelings of happiness, relaxation, or invigoration inspired by the beautiful country of Jamaica. They are only available in one size, 100 milliliters, and they're $140 per bottle. They did have discovery sets of the 3 masculine and the 3 feminine scents, but those appear to be sold out. They were $380 for the 3 full-size scents. A restock is expected for those, so keep an eye on their website if you are looking for those in the 3 packs, but the individual fragrances seem to all be available. As our final story, our feel-good story of the week, I've been keeping my eye on Amanda Wynn, who we talked about, a few months ago, because e.l.f. Cosmetics had done a feature on her for their Show Yourself campaign. And I absolutely fell in love with her. A lot of you all did too. And I just kept wondering, when is she going to space? When is she going to space? Is this going to happen for her? I was just so excited for her. And she did. She went to space last week. She is the first South Asian woman to travel into space. Here's a clip from the Show Yourself campaign of a little of Amanda's story.
As a child, I was headstrong. I questioned a lot of things. And I love the stars. My mom and her siblings escaped Vietnam as boat refugees, and they used celestial navigation in order to find their way to freedom. So the stars were always really deeply meaningful. My childhood dreams were to be an astronaut. If I'm gonna use my blink of an eye in this universe, I'm gonna make it matter. I got into college to study astrophysics. But my astronaut dreams were put on hold when I was during my last semester. And I was outraged when I discovered that my kit could be destroyed by the government at 6 months. And the more that I tried to find out where the DNA from my body was taken, the more I found out how broken the criminal justice system was. And when I spoke up about my story, so many other survivors reached out. Similar things had happened to them. They said their evidence was destroyed. That's the moment I decided, all right, the story is not mine alone, and I have a choice. I can accept this injustice or rewrite the law. I drafted and passed the Sexual Assault Survivor Bill of Rights through the United States Congress and through the United Nations. So many people told us that it was impossible to pass any legislation through a hyper-partisan gridlock Congress, but impossible is just an opinion.
Unfortunately, Amanda's story did get buried a little bit because she did go up into space with people like Gayle King and Katy Perry. And I feel like they dominated the media press on this, of it being, people saying, oh, it's just celebrities paying a lot of money and it's all wasteful and all this. And I know this story isn't makeup related, but because e.l.f. covered her and because I was rooting for Amanda, I really wanted to make sure this got a little bit more airtime, even if it's just in my little corner of the internet. That, my friend, was What's Up in Makeup this week. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, thank you, as always, to the What's Up in Makeup Facebook hunters. Their names are scrolling below me. Thank you for all of your submissions this week. I appreciate you so much. Now, this is Easter Sunday, and I am going over to my mom's house today, but I do want to pop in and do a live chat because I do have some things that I want to chat with you about, get your thoughts on, all of that. So we are going to do a live chat today at 10 a.m. again, even though we don't typically. But if you can't watch it because you're doing things, that's totally okay. Along with a happy Easter, I also want to wish a very happy Passover. I hope that it was a wonderful holiday for you. Of course, you can always check out live chat on the replay. If you miss it, just go to my channel page, click on the tab that says live. All my live chats are housed there. Or if you're subscribed, it should just be hanging out in your subscription feed. But if you want to hang out a little more right now and you want more makeup news, over here, I'm going to put 2 videos for you. The bottom one is going to be the top news report from 2 weeks ago, in case you missed it. And then the top one is going to be one YouTube's going to pick for you based on your current viewing history, what YouTube thinks that you want to watch. But if you gotta go, I get it. It is no problem. Thank you for hanging out as long as you did. And mad love to you. I will see you in a video very, very soon.